Savannah, Georgia's Oglethorpe Mall is a powerhouse when it comes to physical retail. Although Sears' departure has left a void in the mall, business continues as seen in this 2021 footage. Let's have a look at Savannah's original mall. It's a big one, so you might want to get a drink or pretzel. In the 1960s, an Atlanta-based developer by the name of Scott Hugdens would eye part of the land this mall stands on today, which was known as the Chippewa Tract. After acquiring the land and securing positions for Belk and Sears, ground would be broken in 1968, and in 1969, Oglethorpe Mall would officially open as the first mall in the city of Savannah. Belk-Beery, McCrory's, Adler's, and the aforementioned Sears all signed on as original anchors. The mall was an instant hit as it signed on Savannah's first Chick-fil-A, a Morrison's Cafeteria, and a Piggly Wiggly. That last one is always amusing to see. And as the mall gained more traction, 1974 would bring about an expansion of roughly 25,000 square feet of retail space, and popularity continued to mount. The people of Savannah seemed to love the Oglethorpe Mall. Another expansion would come in 1982, adding on 230,000 square feet of retail space, along with a JCPenney and Levi's as new anchors. In 1985, Adler's would close its doors for the last time and would be cannibalized for mall space, which would later become the Promenade. This would bring more upscale stores to the mall, like Laura Ashley. Just a year later, Levi's would get acquired by a company by the name of Mass Brothers, based out of Tampa, and this would lead to the store turning into a Jordan Marsh in 1988. Come around the end of the 80s, the Rouse Company was looking to build a big new mall just a couple miles away. However, this proposal would get shot down due to local opposition. Had this plan gone through, this would have brought us the Southland Mall. While Oglethorpe Mall dodged a bullet here, they would still face competition in 1990 when the Savannah Mall opened. However, if you can't tell already, Oglethorpe Mall would come out on top as the place to be. In 1989, Oglethorpe Mall would undergo a significant renovation with brighter colors, whitewashed wood, and tabby walls. However, Jordan Marsh would close its doors for the last time as the company further consolidated. The mall would make do with this by cannibalizing the store for more inline mall space and signing on a new expansion for Riches. Meanwhile, McCrory's would close its doors in 1994 to be replaced by Steinmart. Enter 2000, and Barnes & Noble would open its doors, taking over the Promenade space. In 2002, a new food court would open up in the vacancy left behind by Piggly Wiggly. The mall was banging by this point and showed no signs of slowing down, even as Macy's came to vor Riches in 2005. The mall also continued to gain high-profile tenants such as Build-A-Bear Workshop, Hollister, Nine West, and Forever 21. And although late to the party, this would include H&M. And as 2013 came around, General Growth Properties would obtain ownership of the mall. No mall is perfect, however, and 2010 would bring challenges to the mall. starting with DSW signing on in 2018 to replace an old Piccadilly cafeteria, which had replaced Morrison's way back when. And that same year, Sears would become Seared, which would surprise no one. However, the mall still had a lot of steam left as it did another renovation to update its image, logo, highway entrances, and new flooring. Enter 2020, and Stein Mart would finally close its doors due to liquidation, which was actually the only significant hit the mall would suffer during these dark times. In February 2022, Madison Capital would get a hold of the Sears parcel and gain zoning approval to replace the building with residential apartments. And in the fall of that year, Crunch Fitness would sign on to fill in the void left behind by Stein Mart. Oglethorpe Mall has proven that it can still, throw down with the best of them, coexisting with lifestyle centers and Tanger outlets alike, much to the chagrin of those who seem to hate malls. You know who you are. See this, mall developers? Your mall doesn't have to look like minimalist trash or a modern art gallery in order to be successful. You can have pleasant-looking architecture and plenty of unique features to go with your H&M and Hollister. While I wish that more than just one fountain were operational, I'll take what I can get. But despite any nitpicks I might have, this mall is awesome. It should make other live malls feel bad about themselves. If you don't know what I mean, compare this mall to something like Dayton Mall in Ohio, which doesn't look nearly as interesting as this. Or even the Lynn Haven Mall in Virginia, which I believe is the epitome of plain Jane and boring. Or literally anything renovated by Hall Property Group. On top of that, this mall is doing well. The crowds get pretty heavy in some spots, and vacancies are few and far in between. Now, I will admit that the heavy crowds can be a bother for me personally, but objectively, heavy crowds do equal a successful mall, or at the very least a successful quarter. As long as your mall is viable, holiday quarters will always take care of themselves. But I would be curious to see crowds on, say, January and February, where everything tends to wind down for a little bit. Savannah itself is a rather popular coastal city, both in terms of tourism and shipping. The census shows population growth should the pattern continue. It has easy access to and from Interstate 95, has plenty of tourism between coastal activities, historical spaces, artistic communities, and even paranormal activity, although the malls have no hauntings to speak of. And while the crime statistics aren't all that great, you could do far, far worse. So this mall is doing well, and it has great potential to keep its legacy going in a strong city. Maybe it could make it to 70 years, or even 100. Now wouldn't that be a sight to behold? Now, while this mall is doing great, and I've been speaking highly about it, we do have to ask a few questions. How will this mall fare as it faces more challenges along the way? Although the anchors are doing well, we did see JCPenney almost fade from existence thanks to bankruptcy. We all know what is wrong with Sears, and if Macy's suffers due to its excessive weight from eating up so many nameplates, well, I'll just leave it at that. But additionally, whether you want to admit it or not, we are headed for a recession if we haven't hit it already. I try to keep up my hope for these places, but sometimes even the best can fail to keep up with a hostile environment. Man, we are still going, aren't we? Seems this mall is right on the cusp of being a BFM. And if you look at it on a map, you'll see that it is all clumped together, but it still has a pretty big footprint. You can get a rough idea of what the original mall was on day one, partially due to the anchor lineup, but with all those expansions over the years, this mall has become a massive place, with newer sections making up a sort of zigzag corridor. Couple that with the success that this mall has, and it's no wonder you need a parking garage outside. Now, low-key, I do want to ask, if you live in or commute to Savannah, Georgia, and visit this mall routinely or on occasion, what is it about the Oglethorpe Mall that keeps you coming back? What do you believe is the key to this mall's success? The time is just about here for us to pack up and leave. I want to thank you for joining me on this walk around the Oglethorpe Mall. What did you think about this place? Did you love it? Hate it? What are your thoughts on the Christmas displays for this mall? And what do you think about its seemingly successful appearance? Do share in the comments down below. And I do have one more Florida mall for us to see this Christmas, and it is a grand one from a familiar and respected developer. Do subscribe for that one if you want to see it. Thanks for having me, Savannah, Georgia, and until next time, this is Doomie Grunt wishing you and the Oglethorpe Mall farewell and good luck in this mad, mad, mad world. Although it could be a reference to the old movie, I do keep calling it a mad, mad, mad world because it is a mad, mad, mad world.